Well, hello. Hello, everyone out in YouTube, right there in the chat, and anybody watching this later. This is going to be a little bit of a ride. Well, we got a lot to cover with this. You may have heard all over, unless you're under a rock, about cryptocurrency markets in FTX and one particular man, Samuel Bankman-Fried, who shaking this up all over the place. He's got several lawsuits against him right now. Not only the U.S. government, but he's got a Chapter 11. He's got a criminal case against him by the U.S. government. He's got the Committee of Finance of the U.S. government looking into him and holding hearings. He's got the SEC filed a civil lawsuit and made complaints, and also the Commodities Exchange has also filed a civil lawsuit. Not to mention, he's also got a bankruptcy and trouble in the Bahamas too, with several of his things. It does seem that there's a lot of shady stuff going on here, but I'm gonna break it down for you. Let's start from the beginning. You may not even know how the heck crypto is even a thing. I mean, because a lot of people don't understand exactly what that is. So, for those of you that do, I apologize, but for those of you that don't, I thought a little bit of the basics. Okay. Basically, the crypto market. Okay. Basically, they make their money by charging trading fees and selling created crypto tokens. At least that's how FTX did it. Okay. There are several different types of crypto. Okay. There is the creating of the coin. First of all, cryptocurrency is a term that you use for all forms of electronic currency, including a term you may know like Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency makes sense as an investment in as a form of currency for your business, but it's not regulated and it's not under the supervision. And when I say it makes sense, I'm just going to say there's money to be had there because people are making money. Okay. FTX International is huge. Okay. Uh, Samuel Bankman-Fried's main company, Alameda Research, okay, started FTX International in Hong Kong, of all places, then moved it to the Bahamas, I think in 2021 or between 2019 and 2021. I believe it was closer to 2021. He's in the Bahamas. He puts it there. Okay, huge international market, 120 different companies underneath this umbrella here, including one here in the America, FTX US, which had to be started because it's illegal for Americans to actually invest in this crypto over there in the Bahamas company. So we had to have like an offshoot in order it is actually regulated somewhat here in America, but not as much out in the international trade. Uh, very, very complicated. Okay. Very, very complicated. We're talking a lot of companies here. But as you are hearing in all of the headlines, Samuel Bankman Fried is currently in jail in the Bahamas, awaiting extradition on the indictment here in the United States. Okay. It's going back and forth whether he's going to fight that or not, the extradition. Okay. Uh the Bahamas is an extradition. We have a treaty with them for extradition. But however, they've got their own concerns about Samuel Bankman-Fried. Let's not forget that. His company is from the Bahamas, the main one that went under. And that's what I need to try to explain to you is that it's such a web, such a web, and we're going to get there. It's really hard to decide looking at it. Each country is going to be looking at it from their own angle. He's got so many different companies involved in this. It is way convoluted. Convoluted is the only word I could think of. Isn't that a nice, lovely word? Who wants to hear the word convoluted when it comes to money of any type? I don't. And I don't when it comes to crypto. Crypto is messy enough. Okay. All right. It is not under the supervision of any central bank. It's not regulated. It has its own rules. It has its own type of investors. Um, mm, dicey. Okay. But like I said, it's a digital currency and it's designed to work as a medium of exchange. Okay. They create the coins themselves based on a value, The one thing you need to know about crypto is how volatile the market is, how it fluctuates on the whim. A feather could blow this thing up, as we're going to go when we get to the story of how FTX actually failed and how we got here with Samuel Bankman-Fried sitting in jail in the Bahamas within 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks, from top of the hill, if you knew this name, okay, to in jail in the Bahamas awaiting charges. Okay. All right. But listen, cryptocurrency, besides being digital, it's like an alternative form of payment, and it uses encryption algorithms. And if you know anything about that, it's kind of someone once explained it to me about the 0.000000000.01 that exists in accounting in every kind of banking that there is in evaluation. And like, what if you could find a way to actually capture that non-existent, like to the nines point decimal of an exchange? Could you actually create an exchange? So something like that kind of happened. All right, let's just put it that way. I can't get into the actual details of that algorithm enough. I do not pretend to be an expert on that end of it at all. I'm not an expert on anything. I'll tell you that right now. I talk legal because I love it, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even a paralegal. I like true crime. This case fascinates me because of how messy it is. How damn messy. How many bankruptcies and failed charges we have going on. How many lawsuits cropped up overnight? Like, boom, everybody's suing this guy. Everybody's suing this guy. Okay. And some people don't even know who he was at first. Well, he was a big player in crypto, a big one. Okay. Um, cryptos, another little bit of information here for you. All cryptos are blockchain technology. There are many differences, broadly speaking, that they'll classify them into four different categories. Cryptos are classified as either payment cryptocurrencies, tokens, which FTX used, they created their own tokens, stable coins, and central bank digital currencies. Okay. Um, some of the names you might recognize when we're talking about cryptos are Bitcoin, Bitcoin being the number one market cap at $458 billion. Nope, not million, $1 billion. Okay. Next comes Ethereum. Okay. At 216, then Tether at 66, USD coin, and then Binance. Binance, you're going to know that name when we get to talking about this story. Binance is at 52 billion. Ripple, Cardin, Binance's Binance coin is at 52 billion. Binance USD, because you need a US company base to actually trade cryptocurrency in the United States. They're also a player here, but no valuation right now. I couldn't find one today. Hmm. Hmm. Could not find one on Binance for today. Okay. Um, just so that you know, here in the United States, little bit of tidbit here. If you're making money with cryptocurrency here in the United States, yes, if you're making money on it, it's profitable and it's taxable. You have to list it, whether it exists as a true form of banking or not. You have to list it as earned income. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. It's taxable here in the United States. Who's actually buying crypto here in the United States? Well, they're kind of pigeonholing people. I don't actually agree with this statement, but when I researched it, only about 9% of Americans, in maybe even less, the last numbers are coming in between 8 and 9%. I think that number might be a little bit higher right now because of what's going on with FTX and Samuel Bankman-Fried, because people love when markets collapse because you can pick stuff up at pennies and get really good deals. And I think maybe there might be a little bit more play. Maybe people might get a little braver with a little bit of their money just to see if they could actually, it's, when something crumbles, it can only, there's a good chance something's going to come up from the ashes, right? So if you play it right, I think it might be a bigger number, but right now they're saying it's between 8 and 9%. It is includes that percentage for the American investors, does include all cryptocurrencies, and they're mostly young, owned by young, tech savvy and rather wealthy Americans. Okay. They also say that the more educated you are, the more you may be willing to take a risk in crypto because you may feel you understand it better. Okay. But mm, that's all speculation. This was a survey that was done like a year and a half ago. So it's not actually as of 2022. So I'm curious to see the next one that comes out on this because things have changed. Things have changed as like um you know, the most owned crypto right now is Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin is the most popular one out there. It is the most owned. This information is all coming from bankrec.com. It's coming from the crypto market itself on their own tech websites and their texts, you know. You know what? That's right. Right? Don't you see what I'm saying, right, Kyle? Because people will feel a little bit braver about it if it collapses down, it can only go up, right? Like you feel like you've seen the worst. But I got to tell you, I still don't think it's a very good investment in and I'll tell you why. But I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not giving you advice here, okay? Um but mm, crypto is a high risk investment. Okay, no doubt about it. The value of crypto is very volatile. It fluctuates by huge amounts within very short periods of time, more so than any other investment out there. Crypto is a skyrocket go down, whatever, in a blink of an eye. Okay. Um, there are things you have to consider. Okay, so and I'm not advising this at all. I'm just telling you what they're saying about it to give you like an overview of the crypto market before we get into the FTX fail, because I think you actually need to have a little of this under your belt to understand what was wrong with FTX, what went wrong with FTX, and why Samuel Bankman-Fried is up to his neck in hot water right now. Okay. The main reasons why you shouldn't invest in crypto is if you're a careful investor, you want to know what the risks are. Well, it's unregulated. Okay. Bitcoin itself is not regulated by any authority or regulatory organization. Let me just say that again. Not regulated by any authority or regulatory organization. Okay. It's volatile. It is not legal tender. You get a Bitcoin wallet, like you put your cryptocurrency in a special kind of wallet, and you can only use it in special kind of places for special kind of things. And you got to depend on your crypto exchange, so to speak, to get that money. So the health and the stability of that exchange, where you got your money, is where all the risk is. All right. There is no security. It is prone to illegal activities because when you don't have any authority or regulatory organization watching what you're doing, who do you think's investing over there? Like, hey, like if you're looking for a way to move some money around, like let's go to an unregulated authority over here and like let's see what we can do there. You could just imagine the kinds of people that may be drawn towards of investment. Now, I'm not saying everybody, like, please, I'm not slamming crypto investors at all. I mean, they want to take a chance. They're wealthy. They got it, whatever. But you can see how the unregulated backdoor kind of overshadowed. It's almost like it's a out in public black market. Seriously, it's almost like it's a publicized black market. No rules, whatever. They make the rules, they make the valuations. It's volatile, it's dangerous, it's got shady characters. Okay. You see what I'm saying. Okay. The other reason not to invest is that how many other cryptocurrencies are coming out all of the time. It is not stable for that one reason right there. Every time you think you know the market, boom, 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 there's 25 more. It only has a virtual appearance. You don't get anything. You can't hold cryptocurrency in your hand like you can a dollar bill. You can't take it to the food store, the gas, you can't pay your electric bill, you can't you can't go to the gas station and fill up your car, okay? All right. And the number one reason not to invest in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is it is totally being compared constantly with Ponzi schemes. Like almost to the point where almost everything I went to read talked about a Ponzi scheme. Even the people smart, money smart government in Australia. We're talking about. I investigated it in Australia, in the UK, over there in the Bahamas, and here in the United States. Those were the four that I looked at, and they all have Ponzi schemes right there. When they're talking about crypto, they start talking about Ponzi's. They start talking about people that did it bad. They keep talking about the risk. There's a lot more negative than positive about it, even on the tech sites. Okay, so it's risky, and I'm not trying to talk you out of it. Some people will come up and tell you they've made a fortune on it, and they probably have, because where there is great risk, there can be great gain. Okay, some people believe that paper money is going to go away. Okay, Elon Musk has been quoted as saying this. Um, that should be number 11 as to why not to go with an investment in cryptocurrency, because Elon Musk actually supports it right now. And I'm not sure that he's not going to change his mind tomorrow or an hour from now, or like his tweets like within the next 20 minutes. I've never seen anybody flip flop waffle around more than Elon Musk in the last couple of weeks. I don't know. No. Exactly. Kyle, yes, that's the exact thing. And that's another reason. Like Kyle brings up the point. I could say the same thing about a credit card. It's not really money. It's not. It's debt. When you hold a credit card in your hand, you're looking at liability. That is not a plus. Oh, right. You put a credit card in your hand. It's not like putting a dollar bill in your hand. You put a dollar bill in your hand, that's an asset. You got a dollar. You put a credit card in your hand, that's a liability. You could be down $1,000. You could be down whatever that credit limit is at any time. It is not an asset. Okay. So I get it. And it's kind of, at least with crypto, that could be listed as an asset, but it's not a tangible one. And I use that word tangible as it's not as easy to use it. Okay. It's not that easy to actually use it. Okay. The cryptos that Elon Musk owns, they were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin actually, or Dogecoin. I don't know how you say it. Is it Doge or Dodge? It doesn't have a D. I think it's Dogecoin. But he has sold quite a bit of them already. I don't even know what he still has. I didn't really search him up. That's just a popular name for that. The biggest mistakes that new crypto investors make in my research was not knowing about crypto. Okay, ignoring all the fees that are involved, because that is how the FTX International was making their money, on the fees, on the transfers, on the establishment of the coin. Okay, short-term thinking, thinking, okay, I'm going to make money like in a little bit and I'm just going to sell it, whatever. If you don't think long-term with crypto and handle some of the ups and the downs, you're almost guaranteed not to make any money. Sometimes with these kinds of risky investments, that is very, very common. Okay. Keeping crypto in your online wallets is a big mistake. Apparently, they say that there's a lot of hacking going on. There is a lot of pilfering going on. There is a lot of not using it, so it's not a value. And then you go to use it, and it loses its value. You got to find ways to actually go around and move that crypto around. One of the other biggest mistakes is you forget all your crypto passwords or seed phrases, so you can't get into it. You got the wrong wallet address, you lose your crypto wallet, you lose everything. Nobody's going to guarantee it for you. You're not going to get it back. You actually can get scammed in crypto pretty easily. There are some really not nice people out there. Okay, about it. All right, so that's enough about crypto, unless you have any questions. Okay, about crypto in itself, and then we'll start with this company, FTX. Okay, um, FTX, FTX. The main reason for the FTX collapse was the bankruptcy they filed here in the United States. Okay, they filed bankruptcy because of a surge of customer withdrawals that they were afraid they couldn't meet. Okay, they were afraid that the customers asking for their money back on November 11th, 12th, like in the beginning of November they started, was going to not be met because the assets weren't liquid. It caused a cash crunch. It caused just a slamming of the wall. There was not enough liquid assets to pay everything that was coming in. Okay. The FTX is an exchange that allows users to buy and sell cryptocurrency, generated revenue, and it generated revenue for itself by charging customers trading fees and selling an FTX created crypto token. Remember, creating a token, having a token is one of the main four categories of cryptocurrency itself. Okay. And that token allowed users to buy and sell on a platform at a discount that you could buy and sell that token. Okay. In accounts that were created on FTX, you had exchange accounts, and exactly it worked like that. Okay. Um, FTX did file for bankruptcy when that firm ran out of money after cryptocurrency. What they call it is like a bank run. It's like it can happen. It happens in banking. It happens in lenders all the time when you have you've got people giving you money that you put into accounts and you're holding it for them, but you make investments so that you've tied up some of that money. Okay, you have arrangements with everybody that, hey, you're going to put the money here. You're guaranteed X, but I'm going to use it as an asset to do whatever. And so, companies will take loans out against it. They will use some of it, but they're usually a good if you're following the rules, let's just put it in plain English, you should always have liquid assets enough to pay out your accounts, your customer accounts, the ones you're holding the money for. Okay. Not the ones that there are other kinds of accounts that are investment accounts where they say right in the contract only 50% of your account is going to be liquid at all times. We're going to use the rest for investments and blah blah blah. We're going to go through percentages. Those are all legal as long as it's stated up front. But if you're giving someone $100 to put in an account and there's no fine line there that says that it's not available for you to withdraw right away, then you should be able to draw that 100 out at any time. That's a solid relationship between you and the one holding your money. Okay. What happens on a bank run is when that $100 is listed as being in your account, but is not necessarily available for withdrawal, and you don't necessarily know about it until you go to get it. Okay. Or a lot of people are going to get it at the same time. And so they just don't have enough to pay everybody. And that's a bank run. It causes a collapse on the system. Okay. Um, Basically that's what happened to FTX. And now the reasons that it happened are what I want to talk to you about. The actual kind of timeline here. And I did want to this is mm, mm, this is Samuel Bankman-Fried. We're going to look at him a lot rather than some of the articles, but I do have so many lawsuits too. I'm just going to go over some of the charges and all. But basically, with FTX Financial, the history of what went on is interesting. It's interesting, and I want to go over that timeline with you. Okay, I have s- I have so much stuff up here. Okay, all right. So basically, it started in the beginning of November. All right. It's based on the fact that a balance sheet for Samuel Bankman-Fried's main company, Alameda Research, was leaked. And that balance sheet showed an $8 billion deficit that could occur at any time, that they didn't have enough liquid assets to cover a withdrawal. People got nervous, okay? Um, It reported that on that balance sheet, most of the reserves were based on another company under FTX called FTT. Okay. FTX owned centrally controlled and printed out a thin air token. Okay. Okay. And this came right from uh, uh, Bitcoin's CEO, Corey Klippstein, who told Coindesk that FTX uses FTT as a reward currency for trading discounts. And Alameda had far more of the tokens than traded on the market, suggesting its stake would be hard to liquidate at current prices. Now, FTX International is owned by Samuel Bankman-Fried. He was the CEO. All right. Alameda Research is his huge company that he had before he started FTX and all of this. Okay. And apparently, his main company or he himself owns more of the market than the market, more of the coins than the market does, meaning it can't be liquidated as easily. And there's not enough to pay if anybody made a rain on it. Okay. Now, a couple of days go by. Of course, that shook everything up, and Samuel starts tweeting that everything's fine. Don't worry about it. That's just you're not looking at it right. Let me just explain. Samuel's mm, pretty smooth. Okay. November 6th, Binance. Okay. CZ Zhao, who is the CEO of Binance, who is like, let's just say that he's Samuel's direct competition. These companies are in direct competition with each other. They flip back and forth. Binance is a little more well known and now has the number one spot for this type of crypto because of the FTX collapse. He said that his company, one of the largest crypto exchanges, was planning to sell all of its FTT holdings. Okay, which that one tweet pretty much took Samuel Bankman-Fried out at the knees as far as FTX International Exchange. When a huge company like that says, I've got all of this invested in this company and I don't like what I just read, so I'm dumping it, I'm getting rid of it. It it was crazy because everybody just wants to get their money now out of FTT and FTX. They want their money out. They don't want to get involved. One of the biggest investors out there with a big name just said, I'm going to pull because, I think there might be something going on there." He literally I Jersey terms, I'm saying he took him out at the knees with that tweet, and that caused the bank run. Not just the leaked balance sheet, because that could have been explained. Like, Samuel's pretty smooth. He understands this 120 company web that he has. Obviously, he put it together. And obviously, he got really, really big doing it. So I don't want to say he's dumb. He's not. He's not stupid. He's working within the guidelines that were given to him, which are unregulated, by the way. Nobody said he had to have regulation and do it a certain way. He's allowed to operate in this market clearly the way he's been. There are fine lines that he crossed. The United States has big issues with him as far as not being able to give the investors their money immediately. That's a big no-no here in the United States. That can cause a huge problem. Filing Chapter 11 on an investment firm when people got money at stake, life savings, and people, they want to know if they're scammed. They want to know if you made them promises that you couldn't keep. Big trouble here in the United States. Okay. The Bahamas also big trouble. Okay. There are certain guidelines that perhaps he should have paid more attention to. And I say that like loosely. Of course he should have paid more attention to. He wouldn't have all these lawsuits if he did. Okay. But he was going along fine for years. Okay. Until it came under scrutiny. Okay. I would like to also mention that all of crypto is under scrutiny at one time or another. CZ, the head of Binance, has to understand that he's been under investigation from what I read since 2018. He's not the cleanest player out here either. Okay. And all of the companies have something going on. If you look deep enough, they all have some kind of investigation, something going on. There are no clean ones. Like I said, risky investment to begin with, but it doesn't mean that money isn't anytime money can be made that big that fast. It's risky, it's shady, it's dangerous, and there's going to be people doing things a certain way. But let's be clear, there's no regulation. So how do you know when they cross the lines? Seriously, as a simple investor, how would any of you in the chat or any of you watching on YouTube, how would you know? You're not gonna. It's not regulated. It's not regulated. It's the risk you take. Okay. Okay. So Binance does the tweet. I mean, like not Binance, the CZ. I'm gonna call him CZ because his name is Chao Feng Zhao, and I don't want to keep mispronouncing it. So we're gonna call him CZ, and most people in crypto and in the finance articles are all calling him CZ anyway. But he is the CEO of Binance. Okay. He does that tweet. Okay. Obviously, the warring crypto exchanges now. SBF, which is Samuel Bankman-Fried, and CZ, they got a little tiff going on. They did a little bit on Twitter, okay? But basically, one of the tweets that really got to me was Samuel Bankman-Fried ultimately imploring CZ to make love with blockchain and not war. Like, come on, let's all just get along here because this is going to go bad for everybody, okay? For everybody. I would like to also make note that they are different types of CEOs too. SBF wanted to change the market a little bit. He wanted some regulation. He wanted to get crypto kind of listed with the SEC and everybody. He was talking to Congress about how to legitimize the face of crypto in the United States to make it less of a risky investment somehow. Okay. And yet there are open international markets that do not want that at all, okay? Because they are making their money unregulated, and why with regulation comes more expense and taxes and all kinds of things, okay? So there are two different avenues on crypto, right? There are two different mindsets on this. Like, wouldn't it be better if we just got the name out there better in a more legitimate way? Let's get the governments behind it. And then there are the others to say, oh no, the less they're involved, the better it is for everybody. Okay. And you can understand them being on different sides of that. Okay. Oh, around November 8th, Binance did actually reach out to Samuel Bankman-Fried and offer FTX some type of buyout because FTX had to like stop paying back customers. It was the first sign of weakness. They had to slow it up. People were asking for their money, since that tweet. People were asking for their money, asking for their money. They're doing what they can. They kept money going for a while, It's like 4 or 5 days they're going on, but they're starting to feel the crunch. CZ and Binance offers them a bailout. They seemed like there was a little love story going on there. Maybe that tweet worked on CZ. I don't know, but he did offer them. He signed a non-binding, remember that term, non-binding, letter of intent to buy the smaller rival, which was somewhat smaller, FTX at the time. Okay, CZ said in a tweet that FTX had asked for our help, and faced with significant liquidity crunch, they were going to help them out because, they're the good guys. Okay. But, however, FTT plummeted by another 75% after Binance said that they were going to take it over. Well, that's kind of odd. That I don't see how, when a bigger company is saying they're going to help you, that should have happened unless behind the scenes there was some moving of coin and some moving of this currency, cryptocurrency, and some other things going on. Must have been. Okay, because that doesn't make sense to me. And somebody else can come and try to explain that part to me. That's the one part there I don't get. How FTT plummeted 75% the day after CZ says, I'm going to help bail them out. And he's huge, he's liquid, he's got money. Okay. Perhaps the public appearance did not match the backroom trading. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. That's what it looks like to me. I'm not an expert, but I'm a novice, but hey, looks like there was something going on there to me. Okay. But then the very next day, when everything plummets that 75%, Binance all of a sudden goes, oops, never mind. I don't love you. I don't love you, Samuel. I don't love you. I got no crypto love here. It's crypto war because I'm not buying you out. I'm not helping you out here. It is beyond our control or ability to help you. You are on your own. We're done. Okay. Around the very next day, U.S. regulators reportedly begin investigating FTX. We're talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission. We're talking about the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. And we're talking about the U.S. House of Finance. They were also opened up an investigation into them. They also wanted to get into all of the relationships with all the sister entities like Almeida Research, which was the top one, and FTX US, okay, as well as allegations that the company has been mishandling customer funds, okay. FTX's bad luck just gets worse, okay. It starts to actually spread throughout the crypto industry. Many companies, including crypto.com, stopped withdrawals in USDC and USDT on the Solana blockchain and several other blockchains during that week because trading was so fast and furious. We're talking about a really volatile market here. Okay, and like one little cog moves and damn, it's like a house of cards. Boom, boom, the dominoes, they start falling over. Okay. Um by the 10th, Almada Research, which is the larger company, fails. It falls. He announced that it would wind down trading on Thursday as a Hail Mary effort to save FTX. Samuel puts out a statement that clearly says, I effed up and I should have done better. And he said in a Twitter thread announcing the move that right now he's spending the week doing everything he can to raise liquidity. He's admitting he's not liquid. He's admitting there's a problem that I can't pay the customers the money that they gave to me to hold. Okay. I can't. And then he says, I'm not liquid. I'm working on it. And I can't make you any promises. Red flags everywhere. This is what did it. Now he's getting calls from lawyers. He's getting calls from everybody. Samuel Bankman-Fried decided to actually withdraw as CEO. Okay. Turned it over to someone else. And the advice of a lawyer, he turned it over to John Ray. Okay. Well, actually, the lawyers, everybody, they kind of got John Ray in there. John Ray is going to end up filing bankruptcy in the United States immediately. And this is why Samuel Bankman is over there in the Bahamas with no access to anything, no real passwords, information to get any information to anybody. He's being asked to testify. He's being asked to testify for the finance committee here in the United States because they're investigating what's going on here and they want to know what's going on. He and John Ray are both supposed to testify. But the day before, that night, before the committee actually meets for the testifying, Samuel Bankman-Fried gets arrested in the Bahamas based on an indictment that was filed by the Southern District of New York for the district attorney for fraud and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm going to tell you about. But he had no ability to testify, although he did release what he would have testified. He had a very long document, about 30 pages, which I have linked in the description below. His side of what happened, how it happened, how he could have done better, Samuel Bankman-Fried is coming out and saying that the United States bankruptcy is not necessary because he's saying that in the United States, those companies are liquid. Okay. But they filed on it based on the premise that because there's 120 companies here and they're all intertwined with money and cryptocurrency going back and forth from the international into the United States and back and forth. Because let's be clear, in the United States, you cannot invest in FTX International. You can't. It's not open to you. You need an American one to be able to do it. You need an American company base here to be able to do it. So, but now they're trying to say that these are all linked together and that the debt from FTX International and Alameda Research, which are not American companies whatsoever, they're both out of the Bahamas in other countries, okay, Delaware, they are not American companies at all. And he's trying to say Samuel Bankman-Fried in his written out testimony that he put everywhere. Forbes actually did a big article on it, put the whole testimony out there. He's saying the American company is liquid. There is no reason Americans can't have their money. Like we should be working together to get this all resolved. It's kind of there's no way to actually see unless you can get into the balance sheets or the structure. But I will tell you that John Ray, when he did testify with the committee, in the Finance Committee of the United States, he did show up for the testimony. He gave them he did a 30-page affidavit that I can read you that he submitted. But basically, he's saying that with all of those companies, okay, the top company did not regulate any of them. There was not boards. There were no boards or regulatory committees in most of those companies. There was not a joint accounting for all of those companies. They had no accounting department for the whole group. Okay. They had no human resources for the whole group. John Ray said when it came to compliance and risk, They did not have a department, although they did have a few people that had titles, you know, but he kind of sneered when he said it. I don't think he believes they were doing anything. Samuel did indicate in his actual written out what he would have testified to, that he did understand that he should have done better, and he did understand that perhaps things were a little disjointed, and that he did not concentrate on the risk of investment enough and portray a clearer picture to those investing that way, that the market was volatile and that he should have did a little bit better. He puts it clearly out like that, but he also says it's fixable. It doesn't have to get this bad. Like, he wants to actually help. And that's been the problem with Samuel Bankman-Fried. When you look at, like, who is he? Like, who is this guy, right? Um and you're wondering, like, how did it get like this bad? Like, how could people invest with him if he was like that shady and all of this other stuff? Like, why would they do it, you know? And he was he was known as the do-gooder, okay? Um he hmm, I'm trying to find like the best words. There were some I was looking for this one little clip that these people had on him that was like, it kind of put it all together for me. He's not really an awful person. Okay. He says he wants to do good. Okay. Um, he says he says he wanted to give to charity all the money he made. He wasn't interested in being a huge billionaire. He like said all the nicest things, said all the good things, made you think he was one of the good guys. Okay. And that could be part of the problem, you know. Um he just didn't seem he seemed trustworthy, I guess, if you could say that, but I don't know. I don't know if I could actually say that. Mhm. Mhm. Not good. Not Are you sneering at me, Jin? Why are you sneering at me? Okay. I hope it's not about what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a good guy. Okay. I'm saying he came off as one, in a way. Um, Somewhat. Okay. Just a little bit. All right. Anyway, so the bankruptcy gets filed on the 11th, okay, in the United States, along with FTX starts voluntary Chapter 11 proceedings in the United States, which is freezing all the money. Now nobody's getting paid back. It's for the U.S. unit, crypto trading firm Alameda Research, and nearly 130 other affiliates that Bankman-Fried, Bankman-Fried has resigned as the CEO, and John Ray is now in charge, and he filed those bankruptcies things. And in his written out testimony to the committee, Bankman-Fried had a lot to say about that. I recommend, if you interested in this kind of stuff, that was a pretty lengthy read, but there was some juicy tidbits and some things that just made me think twice about some of the stuff that's going on. First of all, if you don't know who John Ray is, he was also the one for the bankruptcy with Enron and tried to undo all of that. And it apparently, one of Bankman-Fried's main complaints about this is the lawyers that they're using are the same lawyers that they use for Enron, and that the lawyers are being paid right away. And the lawyers are the ones who made all the money in the Enron settling, like $700 million worth. And Samuel Bankman-Fried has an issue with this. He thinks that they're just quick to file the Chapter 11 because there's some money to be made there from them. Period. He basically accuses them of that in his testimony. Okay. And he's being accused by John Ray of not running a connected organization that actually knows what one hand and the other is doing. And that's true. And Samuel admits to it in the testimony that he should have done better about all that. But we do have to go back to the fact that this is an unregulated industry. There's not even a book that says, well, common sense would tell you you need accounting between, what did he say, 130? I had been saying 120, but now they're upping it to 130 affiliated uh, companies. Okay. You would say that there had to be some oversight by someone. Samuel Bankman says he's the oversight. It's all in his head. The accounting's all in his head. He kept track of it. He knows what's going on. Okay, basically, in a nutshell. After I read like 30 pages, basically, that's what he's saying. Pretty much. And now he's saying you can't. How can I answer questions when you're not letting me look at the data? Like you've locked everything up. Like John Ray took over everything. I'm not the CEO anymore. I can't even give you an answer on anything because I can't look at anything because that's how volatile everything changes like so quick. You know, it is dodgy. I agree. It is definitely convoluted was the word I said. It is so complicated. But I do think on some aspects, we're looking at Samuel Bankman-Fried like he was a mastermind that he just really went after everybody. I don't think he intended for these people to lose the money. I really don't. I do not think fleecing was his intention. I do not I think he is actually trying to get people their money back when he's pushing back, or at least he is giving the appearance that he is. That's his stance, and that's what he's sticking to. I want everybody to get their money. I don't want to collapse this. I want everything to go forward. I really want it to be uh, taken care of. You know, this is right, Jen. Compartmentalizing of all of the information when you're trading internationally with all these countries, okay, all over the place, and you're not actually documenting everything. It is kind of like a scheme. And then I didn't and it's not like he doesn't know better. And I know that he has the information. First of all, he has tons of lawyers that he can get advice for, including his parents, which are both professors. One of them is that I maybe both of them at Stanford Law University, and one of them is actually heavily involved with compliance. I kid you not. No, don't choke people. I did. I mean, I spit coffee on that one. Someone told me that. I had to go research it. It's true. He knows better. Okay. He definitely knows better. He is definitely arrogant, Aaron. I agree with you. Arrogant is a word that I would put on Samuel, definitely, but he comes off very affable like he wouldn't be, but he definitely is. You know why I know he's arrogant? They're talking about him going to jail for I don't know how long and what's wrong with all of this. And he's playing video games while he's being interviewed and he's not even paying attention to the questions. He doesn't care about getting the right information out. He was like he couldn't be bothered. And it's not actually the best look for him right now. People are looking at that going, oh my God, like you couldn't even answer their questions. They're asking about this because I will tell you that CoffeeZilla, which is another YouTuber, you want to check him out. He's been on this and on Samuel Bankman-Fried for a while now. He did his first video. I think there was a small video out about 6 or 7 months ago. Then he let go. But about a month and a half ago, he started really hammering down on this from the start. And if you want another view, he is really hard on Samuel and what is wrong on this. And that is a good view on it. And he goes into greater detail than I'm going to be able to do in an hour or so with you. Okay. So you could check him out. He's doing. Um, you think they both are, Wrecker? I know. I know one is. I found the title of compliance instructor, like with the one. But definitely both parents are definitely in organization of business. They are very in legal. They know their stuff, and he had great resource. I mean, he could, unless he's not talking to his parents. I mean, he had good resources. He knows better. Is what I'm going to say. Okay, now come along the day after the chapter. Okay, chapter gets filed in the United States. Chapter 11 gets filed in the United States of the FTX holding company for the United States on the 11th. And on the 12th, Reuters, which is a pretty solid reporting, reports that $1 billion in customer funds have vanished from FTX as a whole. All of a sudden, the exchange says it detected some unauthorized transactions, and blockchain analytics firms estimate that outflows between 473 million and 659 million in suspicious, yes, let me tell you, suspicious circumstances. Now, this started a whole bunch of stuff about where they hacked. Are things uncontrollable? We start seeing tweets about delete your app for this company, for FTX, anything to do with them, delete everything, like everything to do with them, like everything's going crazy. Um, Everything just hits the fan. The Bahama securities regulators start launching a probe on the 13th over the collapse of FTX because they're based there, and they are now actually with lawyers and everything. They appoint liquidators to run FTX in their country. So here's the problem. We got a chapter here on FTX US, okay, and now we've got liquidators over there and legal teams in the Bahamas with everything to do with the international. And we got 130 little companies all in between, well, 128 because you got the two all in between there, all over the world. But all registered in different places, some with boards, some without boards, all these people all trying to get the same pot of gold out of Alameda Research, which seems to have been somehow or other where most of it went in and out of, and which causes the big problem where he's going to get in problems with the SEC here. He's going to get in problems with the US on how he was moving money around. Okay. On the 16th of November, FTX outlines that they definitely have a severe liquidity crisis. Okay. They lay it out in the US bankruptcy filings. They start showing the court what's going on. They have a court filing shows that FTX, the Bahamas unit, and FTX Digital Markets are seeking protection from the creditors by using Chapter 15 of the US Bankruptcy Code. Like they don't want to be in the subject to the liquidation process of the rest of the companies with the US company, okay? Because it would all go into a pool and then based on percentages people would get stuff. But the Bahamas and FTX Digital Markets are seeking protection to keep their stuff out of it. Okay. So that's another legal battle that's going on with there. Okay. Now, Bankman-Fried himself is sued by the US court by investors that are alleging that the company's yield-bearing crypto accounts violated Florida law. That's another lawsuit going on over there. Okay. Liquidators of FTX Digital Markets reject any validity of FTX's US bankruptcy proceedings. Okay. That's dicey. That's trouble. The foreign entities in the Bahamas and also FTX Digital are not recognizing the authority of the Chapter 11 here. They're not communicating very well. How are we supposed to get accurate information from two of the biggest holding companies over here with the assets and the trading that was going on internationally? And here we have the US, FTX US, and the Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings, and the two do not want to compromise. And it's not looking good. And that's the truth. Okay. Major crypto players, Genesis Global Capital, during all of this, all of a sudden suspends redemptions in its lending business, citing the sudden failure of FTX, has them worried. This shows the ripple effect of what the collapse of that one company is actually doing in the crypto market. Remember, I said in the beginning, volatile, high risk, change at the drop of a hat. Those are all true. And we're starting to see it with all of the other companies, some of the bigger ones. They're not lending. They're making terms on how you can take your money out and how long it's going to take. And they're trying to check things up. They're getting rid of some of their holdings in things that may involve FTX. Okay. Around the 17th, that's when the U.S. House Financial Services Committee said it planned to hold a hearing in December to investigate the collapse. That's the hearing that Samuel Bankman-Fried was going to testify at, but he ended up in jail in the Bahamas. And John Ray, the CEO, the acting CEO under the bankruptcy, did attend that hearing. Okay, and they started, and there's a video about that. Let me just, where is it? I thought I had pulled it up. I wanted to give you the actual video link for it. I'll get it in a minute, but I'm going to definitely put it in the description for you anyway. But there was the whole proceeding and his testimony. If you don't want to read the 30-page affidavit that's also listed there, you could watch the video on what he had to say about that. And he being John Ray, who is acting as the CEO now, he has been voted in and carrying the company, the U.S. part of the company, through the bankruptcy. And trying to get together with all of the other portions that are going on. Okay. The let me go back to where I was. So we're getting towards the end of November. And that's when, like I said, the Bahamas and digital market definitely decide that they don't want to start coming. Everybody else gets involved. We've got lawsuits here. The Southern District of New York attorney announced on the 13th that they opened up their sealed indictment. They didn't want anything to change. They had brought it under indictment weeks before, okay, with the grand jury, but they filed charges on Bankman-Fried for 8 counts of an 8 count indictment that includes fraud, money laundering, and campaign finance offenses. Yes, I just said, oh boy, here comes the other shoe, campaign finance offenses. Because remember, when I was talking in the beginning, the differences between some of these crypto companies, Samuel Bankman belongs to the mentality that he was trying to legitimize some of this, try to get it a better name, try to get it recognized in the United States. He's talking to SEC officials, he's talking to the commodities chain, he's talking to congressmen. He's trying to get the voice of crypto out there. He wants to be the face of the negotiable crypto that wants to actually be a player in the regular, what we would call banking industry, the regular finance industry. Um, Here in the United States. He was doing a lot of that. Okay. He did put in a lot of money, and some of it Democratic, some of it Republican. I will say there was one young man, the youngest one voted in the midterm elections here, a gentleman by the name of Frost. He's a Gen Xer. He's what, 27 years old, I believe, 25 or 27 years old. And I'm going to share with you his tweet. His name is Maxwell Alejandro Frost, and he's given the money back, as a lot of them should. Okay, let me take him off of the screen for a minute there for you. Just to share this tweet, and I'll give you the link to it. You can go read it yourself. It's a little long. I'm not going to go over all of it. But if you want to see how, when you get caught with money that should have, like, might have a tinge on it, what you should do about it, this guy's got it right. You own up to it. You say how it happened. You decide what to do with the money. You explain why you can't just give it back. And then you go through the process of what's going to happen, how you're going to prevent it from happening again. Okay. And it was quite long. Um, he said that Samuel had super funded a super PAC for him called Protect Our Future, which spent money in his district supporting him. He never solicited their support. He didn't, and I don't want or need support from any scamming wrongful folks. Okay. He's going to fight to get the dark money out of politics. Okay. He's saying that he's donating his contribution to an organization called Zebra Coalition, that he never solicited the money, but it did become part of super PACs, and he did have money available. His name will come up in the registers. Okay. Whether Samuel meant harm or not, in the end, he believes that the FTX fail shows that it was a scam. And it's absolutely heartbreaking to read the stories of all of the people who lost everything. And those stories should be uplifted in this moment. In other words, he wants to talk about the people who feel victimized by the FTX fail. Okay. He he did it right. That's all I want to say about that. Well, let's go over our 8 counts here. Oh, wait, nope, that's the wrong guy. The last thing I want to do is tell you that all of the documents, the sealed indictments, I'm going to be adding the SEC and the Commodities Exchange lawsuits to the description. I don't have them there right now, but basically, the United States uh, District Court of Southern District of New York is suing me for the United States of America against Samuel Bankman-Fried himself. Okay, based on not a company name or anything else, just him, because he is the owner of almost every single company that is involved here. And there are 8 counts, and I'll just tell you that the first one, count one, we're going to go through this really quickly. The first one is whoop, conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers. Okay. And this went to the grand jury. Okay. They're saying that when he took the money in, he did not clearly indicate what he's going to be using it for. Wire fraud on customers. That you will get whenever you are transferring money via exchange from account to account. Okay. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud on the lenders. Okay, people that lent him money to use for investment, and therefore that he willfully and knowingly did combine, conspire, confederate, and agree together with each other to commit wire fraud in violation of Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1343. Okay. Count 4, wire fraud on the lenders. Not only conspired to, but they're saying they have evidence that he actually did it by documentation. He knowingly devised and intended to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by means of false and fraudulent pretenses. Count 5, conspiracy to commit commodities fraud. That is do the exchange. Okay. He willfully and knowing did conspire, confederate, and agree with each other to commit an offense against the United States, to wit, commodities fraud in violation of Title 7 of the United States Code, Sections 9 and 13, and Title 17 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 180.1. These are the small regulations that are here. When investments are done in the United States, the only part of FTX that was regulated was mostly here in the United States. Now, there were some banking regulations you have to follow in the Bahamas and every other country. I know this, okay? And so did Samuel. And I'm sure he did bare minimal, but they all have issues too. Now, I don't have the Bahamas case against him. That's kind of hard to get, nor do I have the FTX digital marketing compliance from their lawyers over. I'm trying to get a hold of those letters to see what regulations they are actually going to be saying that he violated on them and why they get to keep the money there to satisfy their customers. Okay. Count 6 is conspiracy to commit security fraud. Count 7 is conspiracy to commit money laundering. In other words, to allow people to bring money in and out just to clean it up, or to do so himself. Okay. Count 8 was conspiracy to defraud the United States and violate the campaign finance laws. This was about the money he put in PACs, trying to get legislation, trying to get people to listen to him in different areas of government. That's a big one too. And that was it, the 8 counts. Okay. They definitely are going hard on this. They have evidence on almost on all of it. Okay. The Commodities Future Trading Commission, also through the Southern District of New York, is not only suing Samuel Bankman-Fried. Okay. Let's just let's just stop that one and bring up the next one. We're just going to do these really quick, and then I'm going to let you guys go for the day. This one, the Commodities Future Trading Commission, is suing Samuel Bankman-Fried, the FTX Trading Ltd, and Alameda Research. In other words, the umbrella of the 130 people in the top one, Alameda Research, that Samuel was his first company. Okay. And it's a complaint for injunction and other equitable relief and for civil monetary penalties under the Commodity Exchange Act and Commission's regulations. And they want a jury trial. Okay. They are saying that Samuel Bankman defrauded them. Okay. That he was co-founded Alameda. It's going to give you this one actually gives you a bunch of history about how he actually started his company. Okay. All right. They are suing the defendant and all of the companies to get financial release. Okay. Saying that he violated the regulations that exist for the trading here in the United States. I want to get down to the actual charge there. This is the part here. He commingled, mishandled, and misappropriated FTX trading customer funds from the moment of FTX's launch. That is the one I wanted to show you. That struck me. This is why it's so convoluted that we have the lawsuit, that this is how here in America, they're able to actually say that they're able to file Chapter 11 and get the funding throughout all the other companies that are not here. Okay. This is pretty bad. Pretty bad for Samuel that they've got. He misrepresented his relationship to the operations of FTX and Alameda. He never said that he was putting FTX money in Alameda and back and forth. Alameda was actually, it looks like, loaning money into FTX at certain points, and it was going in and out like on a regular basis. Okay. And that was never disclosed. And you have to disclose that kind of stuff when there are different companies, especially when you own them all. Okay. Almeida's relationship with and special privileges on FTX. Almeida didn't have to follow what little rules they had in FTX International as far as trading had to go. The money was going in and out with no designated purpose or allegation or under the rules and regulations that were clearly decided on how they would trade under FTX International. That's a big one there. Violated their own protocols there, showing that this was definitely looks really shady. This here alone is one of the biggest reasons why everybody's going fraud, scam, shady. Sam, what are you doing? Sam, you're putting money over here, you're taking it over here, you just want the money over there in your main company. Like, what is going on? What is going on in here? Why can't you pay people back when you were regularly taking money out of your own company? Misappropriation of customer funds. They're accusing him of putting the money away for the customers with no intention of actually giving it back to them because they were using it for other things. Okay. They are saying that there is a liability of over $8 billion. Alameda's fiat liability to FTX was $8 billion and was unable to give it back to them. And that $8 billion is money that belongs to the customers. Okay. The next one I have is the Securities Exchange. Oh, wait, is that the security? Yep. Look at that. Okay, the Securities Exchange, they also want a jury trial. This is a civil suit, okay? And basically, they are going to come up, they're saying the same thing. He is saying that by engaging in the conduct set forth in this complaint, the defendant has violated Section 17 of the Securities Act and Section 10 and all of these. Unless defendant is permanently restrained and adjourned, they wanted him arrested. He will continue to engage in these acts, practices, transactions, and courses of business set forth in this complaint and its act and practices, and he cannot actually conduct a business of this nature ever again. They don't want him to be. They are saying that he engaged in a scheme to defraud equity investors in FTX trading, the crypto asset trading platform of which he was CEO and co-founder, at the same time that he was also defrauding the platform's customers. Bankman-Fried raised more than $1.8 billion from investors, including U.S. investors, who bought an equity stake in FTX, believing that FTX had appropriate controls and risk management measures. Samuel himself has said he didn't. This is trouble. This is a problem. Unbeknownst to those investors and to the FTX trading customers, Bankman-Fried was orchestrating a massive year-long fraud, diverting billions of dollars of the trading platform's customer funds for his own personal benefit and to help grow his crypto empire. There you go. He's getting sued for that one too. Now, what else can I tell you before we go? I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about Samuel Bankman-Fried and FTX right now. There's a lot more. There is, there is a lot more. But I'm just going to look over here and just see if there are any questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up. But basically, that's the collapse there. We're now looking at him being extradited. We don't know. The other day he said he was going to fight. There should have been a hearing on Monday. I can't see the results of it yet. there was going to be in the Bahamas on whether or not, like, he was going to fight the extradition or not, whether they were going to keep him there for their own stuff first. Who knows? Okay. Um, Listen, I can't believe so many lawsuits came out so quickly. I mean, I can believe it because this is huge and it's convoluted. And if it's as bad as they say it is, it's only going to get worse. It's definitely going to get worse before it gets better. I really feel bad for the people that invested in it. But also it's crypto. Okay. It's risky to begin with. There is some, you do take some risk. I'm not saying people should have been fleeced. If he actively created this in a scheme to never ever have it be worth anything and to pay, I definitely. If they can nail him, they should nail him. Well, he's not the only one, is my point. This is coming out big right now because of how fast it happened, because of the name of his name, because he made himself a face out there for it. But he's not the only player. We've got investigators of beds two other huge players right now going on. And Binance has also been under since even longer, since 2018, back and forth under investigation. Okay, many of the crypto exchange firms have people looking into them and whatnot, but it's unregulated. Okay, it's hard to say they're doing something wrong when there's no regulation to say they shouldn't. We don't want people to lose their money. We don't want people to build house of cards and Ponzi schemes and all of this. But just be careful where you put it. Just be careful where you put your money and how much of the blame we're going to put on everybody else too, because there's more going on here, in my personal opinion, than just what Samuel Bankman-Fried did. There are big players. They wanted him out of the picture, didn't want things regulated. There's a lot going on. There's even stories and rumors, and I'm not going to pull up articles on it, that people are in dire straits about this, that people are losing lives. And it is an unregulated market in most cases. Okay, yes, to trade in the United States there are some bare bones regulations you got to follow, and you should be charged if you violated them, and I hope they get him for him if he did, because I want that to happen, definitely. But it's all dodgy everywhere. Like I said, when I look at it, and I keep thinking of it this way, I don't know a better way to explain it, but it's almost like it's a public black market. It's like everything's off rack. Okay, doesn't follow the regular rules. You can't expect it to be 100% legit because it doesn't operate in a 100% legit environment. You would hope everybody was a good player. Well, apparently not. And this situation like this is rife for the bad players too. Okay. Now, yes, you can make, I'm not saying you can't make money on crypto. Many people have. Okay. It is an investment. There is a way to do it. There's just having it is not an illegal thing. What they're doing is not illegal at all. Okay. There's no regulation. That's different. It's not illegal. It's unregulated. Those are two different things. Don't mix them up. Okay. Now, Samuel Bankman-Fried, they're saying he broke some rules, that he did do some illegal stuff, okay? And then he's going to have to face those charges. But actually having FTX International or Alameda Research or even FTX of the United States was not illegal. Was it unregulated? Yeah, to some degree. A lot internationally unregulated, a little regulated in the United States, but not to the extent you would expect. Nobody was making sure there was an accounting firm involved. Nobody was making sure there was a globalized accounting network that we were documenting where everything went and we knew why and everything. There was not compliance department. There were compliance people, but not departments. He admits himself in his own testimony that risks were taken unnecessarily. He didn't actually project to everyone or pay attention to the risk implications as much as he should have to protect the money that he was getting in for customers' investments, okay, for his client investments. He admits that himself, okay. They didn't have human resources. He had employees, though, and he didn't have any human resources or anything like that. No network or no overseeing, whatever. Most of those 130 companies, they all had different levels of boards and CEOs or any kind of compliance organizations whatsoever with any regulations. Okay. Some of them could have been just one person. Some of them could have been 10. Some of them could have been a conglomerate of people. We don't know because only Samuel knows at this point. And John Ray over here in the United States is trying to figure it out with the best that he can with all of the records that he has. And the one thing that struck me was that since Samuel stepped down as CEO, John Ray and he have not communicated at all. And either John Ray thinks that he's not going to tell him the truth, or he thinks he can figure it out on his own. I don't know. But I would think if everything's in his head, like I would want to at least hear what he's got to say and talk. I don't know what regulation, or maybe there's a rule that he can't because he was the ex CEO. Maybe it's part of a binding arbitration deal. Maybe it's part of an NDA. I have no idea. But it just didn't make sense to me. Why they close everything off when everything was so convoluted as it was. Of course, maybe they knew about the indictment. Okay, the indictment didn't come until the next morning, unsealed, but for maybe they knew about it. Who knows? Well, anyway, there's my convoluted case for the day. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the evening. It's not funny. I'm just chuckling because I got through it. I'm actually impressed with myself for actually getting through all of this in one space. Hopefully, I made a little bit of sense out of it. I'm open for questions. You guys want to send them to me? I'm going to follow this because I find it fascinating. I don't mean to bore you, but mm, to me, this is messed up as all. Messed up is everything. Okay. Messed up as anything I've ever seen in business or finance to date. But then again, it's crypto. So it's pretty hard to figure that stuff out to begin with. But everybody have a great night. Yep, there are rules, Liam, about covering money exchange scams and things like that. Definitely. There are some rules. But this is definitely dodgy. I agree. I do agree. There's a lot, but I think it's bigger than what they're portraying it right now. I think it's bigger than Samuel Bankman-Fried. I do. And I think that the market right now is going to be scrambling. And unfortunately, a scandal like this, and let's just call it what it is. It's a scandal, okay? Definitely a scandal. It is going to affect the crypto market for a long time. It's going to make those that were looking to legitimize it and make it more commonplace, make it more trustworthy, reasonable. The good players are going to take a heavy hit, okay? Because the bad players are going to want to keep this going this way. Yeah, and it's going to take a hit. But it, like I said, it's cryptocurrency anyway. It's unregulated. There are some definitions, techniques. Everything's all laid out. They know how it happens. That part is all legitimate. Okay, but actually, the running of these funds and stuff like that. That's the problem because it's not a tangible asset. It's not based on the currency of any country so that we have no actual rules and regulations about how that gets handled, do we? Because you can't put the token in your hand, okay? They get to make the rules about this stuff. They get to value it. The value changes all the time. It's volatile, definitely volatile. So hey, check out CoffeeZilla. Also Moist Critical. I think it goes by Penguin now. You know, Charlie, he did a couple on them also, but I would say CoffeeZilla has the most in-depth coverage to date right now on it in depth. But also Legal Eagle and a couple other people that I follow are actually, dipping into it. And I'm probably going to bring you more at a later date. Let's see if we get Samuel over here back in the United States, and let's see what else I can find out about this Chapter 11 and what the heck they're doing with this. Because I'm curious as to why John Ray actually thinks he's going to get some money, like from the foreign entities, for the American account holders here. It's pretty dicey. It's pretty dicey. Yep. Yeah, I think Liam, you're right. SBF is just the guy that got caught this year, and he did come out as the affable, like likable face of crypto for a while there. He made himself well known for this, and so it is the face they knew, it is a name they knew, and he's apparently got some people that don't like him in crypto in general. I mean, he's fighting with the guy from Binance like right away. And I'm telling you, that tweet, I'm standing my ground on that. That tweet about FTT took out FTX International at the knees immediately. When a bigger company comes up and says you're not worth it, I'm pulling everything, that is when everything fell apart right then. I would like to know why CZ did that, especially if they were negotiating back and forth about buying. Why didn't he want to buy that company? Why didn't he want to help? I have questions, and I'm going to be looking for answers. But on that, I'll let you all go and enjoy your evening. Have a good one. I'll see you during the week. We've got other things to talk about.